Hi Libra, welcome to your March 2023 Astro-Tarot with me, Raphael from Radiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. So, these readings are for your Sun, Moon and Ascendant sign. I do advise that you watch your Ascendant first, especially if you're only going to watch one for the month. Make sure it's your Ascendant because I'm talking about a lot more of the astrology, so it's going to be the most accurate for you. With that said, remember they are general readings. Not everything's going to resonate with everybody, and that is just fine. You should always use your own discernment. Before we start, as always, I would like to bless my decks of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance. And I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise and they help you on your path to your highest vibrational good. So let me know in the comments, do you love it? Do you loathe it? This is how it's going to be from now on. So keep me posted on how you feel about all of this. With that said, let's get straight into it. So we're going to be looking at the first big, or should I say, the three biggest major transits of this month. And that is obviously starting with March the 7th, where Saturn is moving into the sign of Pisces. Now for you personally, this is going to be Saturn moving into your 6th house of day-to-day habits, work patterns, routines, and your physical health. Now the 6th house for me is what I like to call a maintenance house. What that means is this is how you maintain your body. It's the 6th house is how you maintain the stuff that you want to keep, right? So your body, your mind, your body, your spirit, your house, your car, all of that kind of stuff. Now, Saturn is the energy of limitations, restriction, boundaries. It is the hard taskmaster, as it's been called, but it basically refines whatever it touches. So when Saturn comes into a sign, it's there for 2.5 years. And what it's really doing for you is showing you where the errors are, where the cracks in the foundations are. And it basically says we're going to strip all of this down to its bare bones, structure, Saturn. We're going to take away what's not working and we're going to rebuild it. And we're going to rebuild it in a way that is built to last. This is like, a 1920s or 1930s house versus a 2020 house, right? I don't know if you're here in the UK at least, anything that was built sort of post 95 is just not built to last. They're crap. They've got plasterboard walls. They fall apart within minutes. Whereas, like these 1920s, 1930s houses, they're solid, right? They're still going today and they look bloody brilliant. And, when you renovate them and stuff, they just look absolutely amazing. Well, Saturn is coming into your 6th house of Pisces, and it's going to show you how you can do that in your life. It's going to see you getting a lot more serious about your health, your physical health and vitality. You might find with Saturn moving through the 6th that you don't have as much energy, and so you have to really start to look after yourself, your diet, your sleeping pattern, whether you do or don't exercise. All of these things will have a much bigger, much larger kind of impact over the course of this next 2.5 years. But it's not to strip away your vitality, it's actually to give you more vitality by doing the hard work. So for this, you have the 3 of Swords. You have the 5 of Wands. Okay, interesting. And you've got the Page or the Princess of Cups in this deck. So, sorry, they're not very clear, I know, I apologise. That's the 3 of Swords, the 5 of Wands, and the Page or the Princess in this deck of Cups. There you go. So now, what does this mean, right? Well, basically, the message that you're kind of getting here, especially when it comes to this transit, the 3 of Swords is about releasing and letting go of. This with the 5 of Wands, this might be letting go of a certain connection that you have when it comes to your workout regime. This might be that you're letting go of certain things. So as an example, let's say you get to a point and you say, actually, you know what? I can't run every day because my knees just aren't happy about it. Okay, so you find a suitable alternative. That 5 of Wands does suggest that this transit, when it happens, because remember it's a 2.5 year transit, but it starts here in March on March 7th. And when it does begin, you're going to really start to understand, okay, this is what's happening now. All right. This is what I'm getting more for the next 2.5 years. Now, with the Page of Wands, especially with the Page of Cups, especially with the 5 of Wands, you're getting a really deep insight here into what it is that you want on those deeper levels and what it is that you really do or don't resonate with when it comes to how you're living your life on a daily basis. So really paying attention to what needs to shift, what needs to change. And if that means letting go of certain activities, maybe even group endeavors, so be it. This might also be eliminating the drama in your day-to-day world or life. Now, interestingly enough, the 6th house is hidden enemies, right? So you might become acutely aware that you have people in your midst, because, you know, the 6th house is also employees if you're a boss. It's co-workers if you're employed by somebody else. So, you know, it could be an interesting shout for sure. All right, just something to be aware of. Now, for the next transit, this is going to be the movement of Pluto moving out of the sign of Capricorn and into the sign of Aquarius. It's just going to hook its head round the door of Aquarius. It's going to sit at 0 degrees till around late mid-June, I'd say around late June, early July. Then it's going to come back into the sign of Capricorn until January of 2024, when it will come into this sign for 20 years. What this means is you're getting a heads up, right? This next 3 months, pay attention for you. This is in your 5th house. Pay attention to what is happening with romance, sexuality, like the more fun, sort of expressive kind, your dating life if you have one. This is also the house of children. Now, the fact that you've got Pluto moving into there, your children and connection to your kids might become a bit more intense. Remember, Pluto is a very intense energy. It's a transformative energy as well. So maybe something about the connection that you have to your children. If you don't have children, this could be business projects, personal endeavors. It might even be, you know, because the 5th house is also self-expression. You might start to get really deeply intense about how you present yourself, right? How you really share the things that make you happy or fun or excited. Pluto is a magnetic energy. It's not just about death and destruction. It's very magnetic. So you could be drawing to you a lot more sexual encounters. You could be more alluring in that space. You might sort of need to put more time, effort, and energy into your sex life. You may also find a really powerful, deep desire to start creating and being more creative. Now, you've got the 5 of Swords. You've got the 9 of Wands. Yeah, look at this, is really interesting. And then you've got the Sun card, right? So the first thing that I want to say to you, that 5 of Swords does suggest that this can bring some kind of like bickering, right? Between you and maybe a significant other, or maybe somebody that you're dating. It might be that you're drawn or attracted to people that kind of rub you up the wrong way a little bit. You know, that whole opposites attract and friction creates desire kind of thing. Then you've got the 9 of Wands. Now, the reason this is so interesting to me is obviously I'm using a different deck for each sign. And these 2 cards have come up consistently for the Pluto transit, which tells me that on the wider world stage, we're likely to be all experiencing this in some way, and we're probably going to see a lot of friction, right? There's going to be arguments about people that don't have as much as other people. The wealth divide we've already seen, right? We've seen it a lot. It's been really highlighted in the last few years. And so I think we're going to see more of this. Only I think people are going to get a lot more proactive about doing something about it, or at least being more vocal about it. Now, then you've got the Sun card right next to the 9 of Wands. This actually suggests to me, because Pluto can represent deep healing, but it's like soul deep. Right? There's nothing surface level or frivolous about the energy of Pluto. So it's going to be an interesting transit for you guys, because it's coming through the 5th house, right? Which is a house of fun, luck, frivolity. It's a gambling house as well. This might show you where you need to be a bit braver and take some calculated risks. You've got the Sun card here next to the 9 of Wands. This is highlighting potentially for some of you wounds around sex and sensuality, wounds around dating. Maybe you've kind of shied away from it and said, oh, I'm not really interested in that anymore. And Pluto comes in there and says, well, actually, we're going to give you more suitors than you care to deal with. So really interesting. Let me know in the comments what you think and feel about that. And then finally, The third big transit is going to be Mars moving out of the sign of Gemini and into the sign of Cancer, which for you is going to be your 10th house of career, right? This is going to be your 10th house of public standing, social status, how the world sees you. It could bring a few things, right? Remember, Mars is a malefic, so we have to call a spade a spade. One way that this could show up, this could be a challenge that arises over the, from the start of this transit on the 25th of March. Sorry, just to backtrack quickly, the Pluto transit is the 23rd of March. That will move into the sign of Aquarius. And then on the 25th of March, Mars will move into Cancer. And the thing about this, it really is highlighting to you where something in your career might need to be removed or replaced. Something might be obsolete, and now so it's like you're having to really show up, but in a different way than you're used to. This might even be that maybe potentially a superior or a boss or someone in your industry kind of gives you the right nudge to say, well, shit, you know what, maybe I need to adjust something here about the way that the world sees me. All right, so for this, you have the Knight of Pentacles. All right, so the Knight of Pentacles. You've got the Temperance card. Okay, so this is about really realigning your longer term goals. Then you've got the Magician card. I mean, literally, this is about realigning, right? The Temperance card right in the middle there. Your long-term goals, right? The Knight of Pentacles, because the Knight of Pentacles never gives anything quick or easy. It's basically, it takes time to get to this thing that the Knight of Pentacles is envisioning. Now, what I find really interesting is that all of this is happening in your 10th house of public status and career, but your 10th house is also your legacy to the world. With the Magician in tow, this does suggest that you are balancing out the hard work and the goals that you're doing, realigning with your highest goal or future of you becoming the Magician. And so one of the ways that this maybe plays out for you, this could be someone in your industry kind of gives you the elbow or the nudge, maybe someone in your job, maybe a superior, etc. They give you the nudge that you need to say, actually, you're not in alignment here and you need to kind of find a way to pull it back. So it could be an interesting ride of it for sure. So let's check out the different sectors of your world and see how this is going to play out for you. So for your actions and interactions with the world at large over the course of March, you get, all right, so you've got the Knight of Cups, the Two of Pentacles, okay, and the Three of Wands, right? So, I mean, it's a really nice triplet, to be fair. The Knight of Cups with the Two of Pentacles, that's really a solid offer of some kind that you are seeking. But rather than waiting for it to come to you, this is about you maybe putting the feelers out to work with somebody or to collaborate with someone. With that Three of Wands, this is you taking a hop, skip and a jump of some kind. So you've got the Knight of Cups, that's the offer. But the Two of Pentacles suggests that this is one that you are looking to get over or into, especially because you feel like it might be lucrative for you. The Three of Wands, it is a speculative kind of energy. And so I wonder then, this is about you maybe taking a little bit of a calculated risk, a little bit of a gamble. Now, here's the thing, because that Two of Pentacles represents 2 years and Saturn is moving into your 6th house, I do wonder here if whatever you tie yourself to this month ends up taking you 2 to 2.5 years to complete. So just be mindful that whatever you're setting into motion, that you're eager to get it, and then it's like you get it and it's like, oh shit, now I have to actually deliver, and that's going to take me potentially up to and including 2 years. For your work and studies, you've got the Ace of Swords, so a new contract potentially with the Fool. Definitely new contract, new work, new job, new duties and responsibilities are coming here with work. For those of you that are studying or in some form of academia, look at this, right? Now, I am going to get to those of you usually in the weeklies, I used to break it down in a certain way. I'm not doing that here because these are the monthlies. There is new content and all kinds of new everything coming. Stay tuned. I hope you love it. All right. So I'm not going to go into that level of detail in these. These are the overviews. Now, you've got the Devil card here with the Fool, right? Sorry, those cards are not very clear. I apologize. With the Fool card, right? Look at that. The Fool. In this deck, it's called the Foolish Man. And then you've got the Ace of Swords, right? Now, what this kind of says to me, yeah, so what this really kind of says, I had to think about this. With the Devil card, this is about needing to break out of a box when it comes to your studies, when it comes to your work, when it comes to your professional life in general. You're having to break away from the way that you've done things previously and to let go of maybe even a previous incarnation of yourself through your work or your studies. So something's coming up for a change here. There are new opportunities coming in, but they're potentially a little bit more it's Saturn in the 6th, potentially more burdensome or harder work than you envisioned, and maybe you don't get the rewards or the results straight away, but they do come eventually. For your love and relations, you've got the Page of Pentacles. On this deck, it's called the Princess of Pentacles. You have the Six of Pentacles. Okay, so there's a desire here when it comes to love for more equality. And then you've got the Last Judgment, right? So the Judgment card. I'm going to tell you straight up, for those of you that are partnered, married, or in long-term commitments, there are going to be big conversations this month about equality, about what you are doing right and what you are maybe not necessarily doing right. And when I say right and wrong, I'm not talking in the traditional sense. What I'm talking about here is, do you feel like you're getting out of your relationship what you're putting into it? And do you feel like you're putting into your relationship what you're getting out of it? There are going to be conversations around this stuff this month, and it may potentially have something to do with resources. For those of you that are partnered as well, it could be a release of something that has been costing the collective pot more than you would like it to. For those of you that are single and looking, I mean, look, I like this in the sense that you could be connecting to or reconnecting to somebody that really gives you a very different outlook. You could start dating someone this month and you think, wow, this is so easy. It's so, balanced. It's so equal. It's so, the way that I would usually want it to be is how this is. And it might feel really foreign to you. And if that's the case, then maybe this is the new benchmark for relationships for you. Right? Maybe this is where you now kind of look at things and say, actually, this is the standard. And even if it doesn't last beyond this month or whatever the case might be, this is the new standard that I set for my relationships from here on in. For your money and materials, you have the Sun card. Beautiful. All right. You have the Hanged Man. Okay. So listen, going to tell you straight up, and the Ten of Pentacles. There is a cash boost coming in this month. But I'm going to tell you straight up, this is not time to splash the cash. Whatever money comes in for you this month, keep it in your pocket. Chances are you're going to need it or you're going to require it for something else later down the line. So I am going to say to you, save your money this month, all right? Like, be mindful about what you're doing with your resources. And when you get this bigger or larger cash boost, don't let it fritter through your fingers, right? The Sun card's bringing good money. The Hanged Man, Neptunian energy, as quick as it comes in, it could literally just fall through your fingers and you're like, okay, well, what the fuck happened to that? Be mindful of this week, all right? This month. See, there's a little hangover. Even I am still used to the weeklies. I can tell you without a doubt, I was so disorientated for the first couple of weeks. Because I was just like, I was so used to having my routine and the way that I do things, and I knew I needed to change it up for everybody, including me. I'm having so much fun creating stuff like this and bringing new things and trying new stuff and incorporating new things. So let me know how you feel about it in the comments. And then you've got this Ten of Pentacles. For those of you that are looking to purchase or buy a home, this could actually be a really good month for the research that you do. I wouldn't jump in too quickly. And outside of that, it looks like a lot of you might be spending money on travel this month. All right, so now we're going to look at the weeks of your month and see what's going on. So for the first week of March, you have... All right, so you've got the Judgment card, right? So this month is bringing profound change, whether you like it or not. There's also a potential here to be addressing old problems, challenges, issues, or wounds. This first week as well, first week of March, I feel like this is going to be a moment where you really, it's for a lot of you, this might feel like where something really just comes online. And it's like, okay, you know what? Actually, this feels kind of good. For your second week of the month, you've got the Devil card. So the second week of March is going to show you where you're being too rigid. And if there are adjustments made or issues cropping up from the past, that second week of the month is likely to be where they're coming in. All right. Then you have the Hanged Man. Wait and see. Whatever you're feeling, whatever's going on, whatever your mind is telling you, whatever your gut and your feelings are telling you, there's a lot of change in this third week of the month, right? Not only do we switch into Aries season, on top of that, we've got the Pluto move on the 23rd of March. On the top of that, we've got the Mars move on the 25th. So this third week of the month is really saying to you, hold back. Just wait. This is not a time for you to move ahead or press ahead or even confuse yourself. And if the cash boost comes in that third week of the month, practice restraint. Okay, like really, really do. And then finally, for the fourth week of the month, look at that. You've got the Magician again, right? So you've had two cards here, three cards actually, four. All four of these cards came up in your different sectors. And now that they're showing up as the markers for each one of your weeks, there is a message here. Now, this fourth week of the month, this is where you excel. This is where you're able to take something to a brand new level, providing you follow all of these steps. The other thing with the Magician as well, this can be an interaction with a powerful person. However, you've got it right next to the Hanged Man, which is a bit of a nebulous energy on its own. There's two ways this could show up. This could be a connection with somebody that's super spiritual. That's one way. It could also be a connection to somebody who straight up is a liar or a trickster. And I say this because the Magician card can represent the trickster energy, especially in its opposite energies. With the Hanged Man, where something's not clear, be careful of being duped in this second half of the month, all right? Someone could be saying all the right things. They could be giving, all of the right signals, all of the right, yes, mama. And then all of a sudden you realize this person's full of shit. And actually they've just cost you, part of that big, cash boost that's come in for you. All right? Be discerning in this last half of March. So for your moons, I'm not going to go into these extensively because you're going to get your full moon and new moon report, obviously. But on March the 7th, we have a new moon so the same day that Saturn changes sign, we've got a full moon, in the sign of Virgo. And your Virgo full moon message is the gate 42 and closing. Now, interestingly enough, for you, this Virgo full moon is happening in the 12th house, right? This is shining a light on what needs to end. With the gate 42 and the message closing a chapter, ending something, completing something, culminating something, a full moon, an ending, a completion, a culmination. In the 12th house, the house of the past, the hidden, the things that you don't see, but also things where things truly finally come to absolute zero to rest before you step into the next thing. This is a powerful message for you. There's something that needs to be concluded, released, and let go of here at the beginning of the month in March, and that full moon is going to show you how to do it. All right. And then finally, your new moon message on March the 22nd, you've got the gate 47 and mindset. And so that new moon for you is in the 7th house because it's in the sign of Aries, which for you is your 7th house, right? And the reason this is so important, because it basically says, remember I said there's going to be like a new reset of what relationships are for you from now on, 7th house, relationships, partnerships. Your mind is going to change about what you will and won't accept in relationships anymore. And it starts with that new moon. I mean, maybe not necessarily, you might feel it coming the whole month, to be fair. But this does suggest that new moon is going to reboot your relationships in a very powerful way. And it's going to be you maybe having a conversation with yourself to say, well, actually, I've allowed this, this, and this, and I'm not doing it anymore. It's going to be a very powerful month for you guys, I feel. With that said, I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Let me know in the comments, do you love it? Do you loathe it? What do you want more of? This is how it's going to be for a while now until I decide that I need to switch it up again. Alright, but there is a lot more new content to come as well, so stay tuned. Thank you so much. Take care, and I'll speak to you soon.